Coming home to Roost. Clean my lens. Clean my lens. Man, I was playing basketball today. I have a high ankle sprain. Didn't even do it to myself. Kid fell on my ankle. So I'm here, driving home with ice on my leg and wisdom in my brain. This is The Real Spiel, the Shiloh Institute, Delkay Brereton, broadcasting to you from Toronto, Canada, to the world. Love, peace, here, Greece, and all the things that make us happy. Listen to me. Cyclopses are in the building. To the Spielers and all those that come on live with me. I'm about to tell you something. The Western chickens have come home to roost. Why is it that these colleges all over the United States, are in an uproar? They're uproar in Florida. They're in an uproar in Wisconsin. They're in an uproar in New York City. All over the United States, hundreds of colleges, thousands of kids are in, I think it's being misdescribed, but they're calling it a pro-Palestine protest. I think they do that for alliteration. I don't know if it's pro-Palestine protest, and I don't think that's exactly what it is for most of these kids. I think for the most part, it's an anti-genocide protest. They have been called by Netanyahu and by now organized Zionist groups anti-Semitic protests. I don't believe that's what they are. I don't believe they are anti-Semitic protests. I personally believe these young, intelligent people are waking up to the understanding of the culpability of their Western life to death around the world. They're waking up to the knowledge that funding the war in Gaza, the biggest funder of the war in Gaza is the United States of America. Every drop of blood that is being shed from Israel towards whoever they're fighting is co-sponsored by America. Now, I'm not trying to turn Israel into a giant boogeyman. I'm not. When you look at what is taking place right now, sometimes you've got to slow down and realize there's really two sides to this. Absolutely, the carnage and the advantage is very much, the advantage is very much Israel, and the carnage is very much against the Palestinian people. And if the focus, and this focus is not just on Palestine anymore, as we know, this is opened up. Iran, Syria has been well involved in this, and other groups and other nations are going to be very involved in this very, very soon. This thing is getting bigger and bigger every day. But these young people are waking up to the knowledge and the understanding that America is in bed with financing what people are taking now as genocide. And Netanyahu has said, and again, this is the thing that makes you scratch your head, in peace talks, the Palestinian so-called Hamas side is saying, we want to have peace talks. We want 90 days or 60 days of take it easy for 60 days, and let's have a conversation about hostages. All right? The hostages, hello, my friend here, Tridge. The hostages, 1,000 Palestinian hostages to 20 Israeli hostages. I don't know who's going to sit down and listen to that. You give us 1,000, we'll give you 20 hostages. When this whole thing really is about hostages, it started about hostages, yes. There was an initial fight, but hostages was very much part and parcel of this right away. And Netanyahu has said, doesn't matter what the truce, what the peace talks are, we're invading Rafah. We're invading Rafah. We know where you are. We know where you're trying to set up. We know you need time to set it up. And no matter what, we're coming to get you. And, from other uninformed sides of that conversation. It just seems like, Israel is just going in there to blow up as much people and to kill as much people as possible. But again, there's always two sides to this. And the agenda must be there. There is an agenda there. Whether it's good or bad, there's an agenda there. And there's knowledge of something happening, or potential knowledge of something happening there. That's why they're going in there. So let that be here and there. But these Westerners are now dealing with their own children, taking a closer look at international policy. And the international policy conversation is truly grotesque when you really look at it. It's a grotesque conversation. It's an incredible conversation. You think of the amount of aid that goes to Israel. And that aid that goes to Israel, and listen to this. This part will blow your mind. Yvonne, how are you? The aid that is targeted to go to Israel, I believe, and don't quote me on these numbers, but they're close. Let's say about 85% of that money is slated for American companies that sell Israel weapons. So yeah, we're going to send 11 billion to Israel, right? Let's use easy numbers. 10 billion to Israel. 80% of that, so 8 billion, is staying right here in America, being funneled right to the weapons industry, organizations like Raytheon. Raytheon, for those who knows, a very good stock, by the way. Very good stock. I've been following Raytheon for almost 20 years. I'm upset. I'm upset with myself. I should have bought Raytheon very long ago, because Raytheon has and controls most of the patents of the America's military technology. Raytheon, the most notable conspiracy theory per se of Raytheon in my historical time of knowing them has been that they created the HARP system, the ionosphere, the weather control machine, which is the true weapon of mass destruction that America has actually developed. They don't need a nuclear bomb anymore. They don't require those kinds of smart bombs. They have things that can simply send a cyclone straight to your capital directly. Boom. It just looks like weather. Right? They don't need COVID-19. They don't need mustard gas. They don't need that stuff. They can send a hurricane to take out a section of your country with the manipulation of the ionosphere. And Raytheon is one of the most technologically savvy American companies that America has. It is basically the American military in corporate form. And therefore Raytheon is never going to lose any money. And so most of that money is slotted right back to the complex of military, private military weaponry in America. What a hustle. What a hustle. Imagine, just to give you an analogy, we're sending aid to Africa. We're sending aid to Africa. And the aid money that is slotted to Africa, the money has to be spent on American companies that provide the products that send the aid to Africa. So the money doesn't even get to Africa. The money's being spent in America. And some of the goods are being sent to Africa. Well, essentially, this is what's happening with this Israel aid. And something I've been talking about for a long time, thinking about why doesn't some of that money be slotted to our brothers who are black Israelites in Israel. How come they haven't gotten any of that money? How come they don't get some of that money slotted to them? Because a lot of that money doesn't even get to Israel. It shows up via a missile. It shows up via a plane or a tank or bullets. That's how it's showing up in that form. So of course, these guys aren't getting any fair share of that money. So it's quite interesting to see that these things are being seen, they're being figured out, they're being understood. And that war is big business. It's big business. It's absolute big business. all the way down to college campuses. Colleges are now, of course, they're creating curriculum for stuff like this, world politics, and creating courses to understand these things. There's an ecosphere of reciprocal capacities to make money from war, from weapons to aid to medicine to pharmaceuticals, same thing, and to even education. And so this circle, this demonic circle, has infected the minds and the ideas of the Westerner. And yes, these kids that are protesting, of course, some of them are not domesticated Americans. Some of them are immigrants from those same countries. Some of them are Palestinian. And of course, the allegation is that, oh, these kids they're breaking the First Amendment. They're not adhering to the First Amendment. It's not a freedom of speech issue. It's not a right to protest issue, or the Fourth Amendment. They're simply just, causing trouble. They're, all these kind of things. You have DeSantis. Oh, Mr. DeSantis has risen. That serpent has risen up again, saying, oh, these colleges have said that we're going to expel you. And some kids are saying we're prepared to be expelled. We're prepared to be expelled from the poison that is referred to as Western education. Yes, it's poison. It's absolutely poison. You are being retrofitted to work as a drone for the American military system, the American imperial system. And so it's broken. It's always been broken. It's always been broken. It doesn't work. The capacity for these young people to get loans and pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for an education, have incredible student debt that they can essentially never work off, even in America. There is no reciprocity in modern education. Imagine this. Imagine saying that from the Caribbean voice. Well, all our parents told us to do was, you got to get education. What have they been telling black people for the last 75 years in North America, in the Caribbean? It's about an education. Get in your book. Get in your book. Oh, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. And we have seen that success, it's an oxymoron. It is an oxymoron from an educated man with a degree. That success is not always in the book. Success is in the awareness of what is around you. I have something that I'd like to tell you. Sometimes it is not your seed, it is the soil. A mango cannot grow in Canada, even if you plant a fantastic mango seed. Even if you plant the mango during springtime when it's time to plant. Even if you furnish the mango with fertilizer and all that it needs, the environment is not conducive to creating a mango tree. Hallelujah. To some who know that's a sermon. It does not matter whether or not you are educated, whether or not you have a college degree, whether or not you have effectively received the certification of you have the knowledge base to do something effectual in the place you are. You have to have the capacity for that seed to germinate and to make money for you. You have to have the capacity to grow that. And your environment, this is what I'm going, the environment, for the most part, is not reciprocal. You cannot plant your education, mind, into corporate Canada, corporate America, the Caribbean, and receive a reciprocal amount of remuneration for what you have spent. You're not going to make the money back. You're not going to make the money back. In reverse, most people have understood, just to go in this direction, talking about finances in respect to the reciprocity. Most people who work in public sector jobs realize this. I am better off if I take my lower pension early, because my propensity for a longer life Even if I'm taking less money early, I will be getting more money. If I work longer, I shorten my lifespan, and even though I'm making more money, I live less. So this is the concept. The environment around us is not conducive for the Western education that they promised you to provide you with a home and a car, and your wife can stay home. No, it's not. It doesn't do that anymore. Look at the median of income that is taking place even in the black community in America. $36,000 for a man, $34,000 for a black woman is the average, is the median. Yes, some people make more, some people make less, but the median is $36,000. No one, nowhere, in any state can say that $36,000 is enough money to maintain a family. Oh, come on. And even the average university graduate coming in making $68,000 a year, that is not enough. How can you spend maybe $200,000 or $300,000 on a college education? And that's light. That's light. That's light. $25,000 a year, 4-year degree, maybe 100 grand. But you go get a master's. Hey, that's light. That's light money. And now you're expected to now come out of that, make a job right from the top. You're not, because when you come out of university, where you're starting at the bottom, and you've got to earn your way to being able to pay those bills, with taxation taking 30 to 40%, sometimes 50% of your income. No, man, you can't get ahead. It's a hustle. It's a hustle. And all in the while tycoons are making money, more money on murder, on the imprisonment of people of color, making more money under oppression. Come on. Some people are waking up and saying, this is not what I signed up for. Why do you think that there was such a great surge of radicalization of Western and European white boys to go and to become part of ISIS? Yes, ISIS. ISIS was not created by white men, but it was built by little white boys, little white military boys. You know why? Because they paid those little boys hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to come over there and wear a mask for ISIS. Imagine. There is no nationalism anymore. There is only the almighty dollar. The almighty dollar that is causing everyone to get up and to move. Let me tell you something. The true nationalists, the last nationalists, are people that we're looking at right now. It's these Zionists. They are nationalists. They believe that they have an actual cause, even though their cause is misguided, very misguided. A Zionist, a European Jew, is very misguided because he calls it Zionism, and it's not Zionism. You shouldn't even call it Zionism, because it doesn't represent the people of the book. It represents you. It represents your self-preservation. Call it something else. Give it any name you want, but call it something else. It doesn't represent anti-Semitic anything. You're not Semitic. You're Jewish. But let me not go there with you. You're trying to defend yourself. You're trying to get your people back. You have a partner in America sending you billions of dollars, backing you up with nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers and bombs and missiles and building technology with you, bully for you. But at the end of the day, the next generation is waking up and saying, we're not going to allow you to survive. We're not going to allow this to continue. We're getting into office next. They're saying right now, defund Israel. Oh, they don't want to hear that. When the Zionists heard that, oh my gosh, they were like Fred Sanford having a heart attack. Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey. I'm coming to join you with kosher wine. They're defunding us. They're taking away our billions of dollars to pretend that we are truly the people of the book. But we're just killing people to defend a little plot of land that they gave us in 1948. Was scripture fulfilled in 1948? Yes, it was. A nation was built in one day. Absolutely. It was. Are they sitting on the Holy Land? Absolutely they are. Absolutely. But Japheth is sitting in the tents of Shem too. And all that is Bible. And we need to look at that very deeply. What is taking place right now is the young people are waking up. And look at how the domestic, what do I want to call it? The domestic state of ignorant occupation is taking that's what I should call anybody who is trying to stop intelligent protest. You're a domestic state-funded institution of ignorance. You want to keep people stupid. You want to keep people scared. Don't come in here. We'll beat you up. We'll put handcuffs on you. And people have been arrested. Oh my goodness, you've arrested us. Oh, that's what they want to do, because they do not want these young people to simply just share their ideas. Just talk about it. Yeah. But the unfortunate facts, you can't govern a world without a gun. So all you pacifists who just want to sit there and talk and hug and say kumbaya, no, because there's real evil people in the world. But we're going further than that. We're not just governing with aggression. We're governing with misdirection. We're saying things in a way that it doesn't truly make sense. The Israel and Palestine situation is essentially the abduction of land by individuals who never earned it, never deserved to be there, and we're simply guests who have more power than the people who invited them in. And that's all there is going on over there. And now they have stated their dominance, and they're saying, you know what, we're no longer guests. We own it, and we're going to eliminate you so that there's no more conversation about us being guests. It's the audacity of Netanyahu to tell the Palestinian that he is a guest. The audacity of Benjamin to say that they were guests. That sentence absolutely should be the misdirection that has been shot around the world. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. But now the rhetoric will change. It will change when you allow these young people to actually be heard and stop just filming them, CNN, getting arrested and making noise and putting up placards. When people start allowing them to talk, allowing them to have intelligent conversation and communication, and to let you know what's actually taking place, it's going to scare you. It's going to scare you on both sides. Absolutely, it's going to scare you on both sides, because I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, and I believe that there's cowards running the thing on both sides. There's cowards in Iran. There's cowards in Israel, sitting at the very forefront with their fingers on the trigger. There's cowards in Washington. You're cowards. You're cowards. Absolutely, you're cowards. You're sitting there in positions where you know you have too much power, and now you're afraid. You're deadly afraid, because you're like, wow, we put all this power together. Now we're afraid. Like, look what happened. When Iran launched their bombs and their missiles, everybody got afraid. It's like, hey, guys, this is supposed to be posturing right now. We don't want a real fight here. Come on, relax. That's what's happening. They will always allow a stronger force to obliterate a weaker force. It will always be allowed. NATO will sit on their hands. The United Nations will sit on their hands. They will always allow that. But two equal forces coming to fight, everybody gets scared. Everybody gets scared. This is what the Cold War was about. This is why they wanted everybody to have a nuke. All those big players, Russia, China, America, everybody have enough nukes to keep everybody else calm. That's how the West was won. Everybody had a gun. Everybody had a gun. And so we're in that space. Where's my phone? We're in that space where now the truth is being told. I'm on a live, I'll call you back. The truth is being told. Young people have woken up, and they realize, no, there's three things happening here. There's true hostages, Israeli hostages are being held. Establish that. There's true agenda of genocide from Israel. Let's establish that. There's a true state of a mentality of anti-Semitism that does not want Israel to be a nation. Let's establish that. All these things are true at the same time. They're all true, all at the same time. But nobody wants to have the conversation of how to deal with it. And there's more to that. There's more to that. Israel is now the greatest terrorist on the planet, even more than the terrorist that was before them, the United States of America. Because Netanyahu, I might have to retract my statement, Netanyahu might be the only person who's really not afraid to spill blood. I don't think the elderly man sitting in the White House is interested in causing too much carnage. But Netanyahu, he's a bloodmonger, boy. He's a Klingon. Boy. He drinks blood wine. He don't mind spilling blood. As long as it's not his people's blood, he don't mind spilling blood. Netanyahu likes blood. That's a vampire over there, I'm telling you. But for the most part, most of those guys are cowards. Because faced with an equal amount of force, nobody pushes the button. Nobody pushes the button. Because everybody knows what's going to happen. This is the last part I'd like to talk about. The economics of war. Israel has something. I want you all to go look it up. Because I'm always a step ahead when it comes to situations like this. Every time there's a war, ladies and gentlemen, most countries put out treasury bonds. So Israel has something called Israel bonds. And so I'm thinking, okay, these guys are stuck now. They know they're in a much deeper scenario. America's aid, they're coming up for a presidential change. That aid is going to be affected. These guys need to raise money. They've got to put out bonds, right? Bonds are money that we invest to a government. We buy their bonds, they take the money and they use it for war. And they give you a return. It's a loan, essentially. And they can set it up for a certain amount of time. It could be 3 years, it could be 10 years. People who are long-term investors, they will go for a longer period of time. And some folks that want to make a quick killing, they'll jump in there and say, hey, let's put some of our capital preservation money. Those are people who are rich already. They don't need to make more money. They just want to make sure their money doesn't get eroded. Let's take some of our capital preservation, and slap it into a bond, right? Those bonds are only paying 5%. For a Canadian, I don't know what's going on with the American GIC market, Guaranteed Investment Certificate market. We're already getting 5-6%. Why on earth would I send money to Israel and hope that Israel can pay me back in 3 to 10 years? No, not at 5%. You better raise that money. So what I'm saying to you is, keep your eyes on Israel bonds, because I believe that the yield, which is the amount of money that they will pay you back, is about to go through the roof. 5% ain't going to cut it. People aren't going to invest over there for 5%, but they might start giving out 12, 13. Israel bonds is your favorite investment certificate, if that's what they're giving out. Right now in Canada, you come on, bring your money out to Canada. We're giving out 5-6%. That's fantastic. It's fantastic investment. Most people are looking for 2 back in the day. But nobody's giving their money to Israel at 5.4, 5.3. No. Not when we're over here in the safest country in the world. We just got voted that, Canada's the safest country in the world. Don't run over here, though. Don't run yourself over here, because our taxation and the cost of gas will run you right back to America, wherever you came from, paying $8 a gallon over here. You're giving away 50% of your money. You're working for the government here. 50-50 partnership with the government if you're an employee, unless you're a brother like me who knows how to do other things. Now, as I said, the young people are waking up. The chickens have come home to roost. You're about to have an election. There's about to be a transitional change in American foreign policy, because the questions that are going to be asked when it comes time for these two knuckleheads to go head to head against each other, these old men, and America's got to stop this two-party system. I'll say it again, just for the sake of saying it, for anybody who's been here, black people need to stop allowing the two-party system. How dare you sit on your hands since the 60s and do not establish a legitimate black party in America? Are you kidding me? The most legitimate black party is the Black Panther Party. It's true. Come on, it's true. You've got intelligent people running for office, running for the Green Party and parties that don't even, you know who I'm talking about, don't even have the capacity to have a showing in most states. And an intelligent man who I actually love is actually putting himself as a presidential candidate in a party that can't even have votes in every state. What is wrong with you people? What's going on? What is wrong with black America? Yes, I'm calling you out. How can you sit there? You're listening to diss tracks from Kendrick Lamar. You're getting excited when Drake drops something he's not even from you, and you know, that's another video. I'm coming back with that video in a minute. But you're listening to all this nonsense. J. Cole, you're listening, you're following LeBron James's great game at 40, 100 years old. Like, yeah, he's old, man. Come on. But you're not in a position to put together a party. Every single time there's an American election, black people don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know what to do with themselves. Now you guys sound crazy. Yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Again, what? What's wrong with you? Oh, well, look at Biden. He's, yeah, I understand your dilemma. I do understand your dilemma, but you created that dilemma, man. The amount of things that you folks have put together and built and brought to the forefront, and you're telling me that there is not a national black party? Come on, you put together the AME church in the 1800s. You can't put together a national party? Oh, we're going to split the Democratic vote. Black people are not able to carry the vote for themselves. The party's going to be ridiculous. We've got to team up. No, man. No. Malcolm was right. You've got to separate from certain things and find your side. And if you have to get a coalition party that is a Latino, black, and some other major ethnicity of America, do that. But to sit here every election and to go back and forth between the democratic liberalism that most conservative black people are not going for. Well, I don't vote Democrat because I'm anti-abortion. Well, there's more than one issue, and I am anti-abortion too, but there's more than one issue. But just becoming a Republican simply on the basis of abortion doesn't speak to the totality of what people require in a federally elected leader. Come on. And each governor in America is going to make up his own mind about abortion anyway. Doesn't matter who's sitting in the White House. So you guys need to do more for yourself. You absolutely do. We're trying in Canada. We had a black woman, her name is Dr. Leslie Ann Lewis, who's running for the head job of the PC party, which is basically our Republican Party, just to compare politics. Smartest black woman in Canada. She will get in. They put another white fella in there right now, a slick talker. He probably won't win. And then they're going to have to realize you got to put the doc in there. You got to put Dr. Lewis in there because she's the smartest person in Canada next to me. But she's a politician and I'm not. So, I don't know. I have issues here. Canada is not the United States. Okay, this is a colony of England. You are not. A whole different set of rules over here. This is effectively Britain. Effectively, we are Britain. We have a governor general that oversees that we're doing everything proper for the Queen. We're run by the Queen. You guys are not. So it's a completely different setup. So I've said enough. I'd like to see what you guys have to say. A lot of small comments. Not the seed, but the soil, baby. That's it. It's your environment. Never allow your environment to speak negatively of you. How can you? How can the Canadian soil tell the mango seed, well, baby, I don't know why you can't produce. It must be something with you. No, you're not the environment that is conducive to my fruitfulness. There's something that must be said. And the American black man in the Second World War on, they said the same thing I said. They said, I'm good seed, but this soil is not conducive for me. I can't come back from the Second World War, where I've liberated you, and come back here and be called a nigger at home. I'm staying in France. I'm staying in Europe. I'm going somewhere else, because the environment there was more conducive to liberty. So now that you've come back home, your ancestors came back home, you sit down there in Mississippi, you went right back to Mississippi after breaking Hitler's back, and you've got 2 generations behind you, and you're not in a different place. Oh, Dr. Claude Anderson should have talked to you. Go listen, go check him out on YouTube. Dr. Claude Anderson should have spoken to you. How can the black man not have more a part of the American pie now than he did at the time that Lincoln freed the slaves? Same percentage. We've got billionaires now, and you're telling me that the collectivity of black America has not progressed percentage-wise than when they were freed by Abraham Lincoln? That's a problem, my friends. You've got to change your environment. Your environment needs a radical change to change it. And the environment that you have to change is your capacity to sit in that White House, painted black, yes, your capacity to change laws and to change the institution that is the United States of America, that great slave plantation. You need to take it over and change the environment. You have to. You've got to change the conversation. Let me tell you something. Black people always move into areas, and then what happens? White folks move out. Doesn't that happen that way? It always happens that way. Black folks move in, white folks move out. Always happens that way. Always happens that way. And that's what's going to happen in America. This is what black people need to do. And I'm out. Let's start having more babies. This sounds crazy. This is why they destabilized the black family. Because they realized that black people were having more children than white people. And they said, oh my goodness, if this, let's start doing the math. And they said, whoa, what's going to happen is there's going to be so many black people, their votes and their capacity to own and to do all these things, it's going to be out. What do we have to do? We can't stop them from having babies. Well, we can try. Let's give them syphilis. That didn't work. They tried. That didn't work. Let's incarcerate them. That didn't work. Still having babies. So what do? They put the woman in charge. They destabilized the black family. They created the family law system. They made it popular for black women to not like black men, right? They created a system of competition where black men are trying to sleep with their friend's wife or their friend's girlfriend or their friend's baby mom. And they created this mess where we are not a family-based community anymore. We are not based on family. We don't have a mentality of raising up 15 sons in one house. I've got 15 sons. We're not like Jesse. Jesse's saying, who's going to be the next king? Oh, brought all his sons out. This son, this son, this son, this son. I got all my sons here, all under my roof. Finally, he gets to David. We're not in that position because some of you, your fathers, you don't even know who your daddy is. Some of you, the dad doesn't even want to talk to the son. Some of you, the woman that you gave a child, 2 other guys gave her a child too. That uterus is being shared by 3 men. Come on. We have such a dysfunctional environment that the seed don't work. That's my position. That's my position. And luckily, we have a generation of young people that are waking up to the realities of what we have already done wrong, what we've been through wrong, and they're correcting it. And they're not just correcting it in the black community, they're correcting it in the Asian community, they're correcting it in the Latino community, talking about the young people that are looking at international policy. They're trying to correct their government. And that American government, I can't wait. I'm going to live long enough. I'm going to live to about 200. Look at me, baby. I'm 55 years old. I look like that. I'm going to live to about 200 years old. I'm going to see the change. I will be there. I hope you're there too. This is Del K. Brereton. This is the real spiel, baby. Shoot and fire. God bless you. I'll talk to you soon.